Well, before coming as ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Meera Shankar was India's ambassador to Germany from December 2005 to April 2009. He's studying in England. It is once again, Madam Ambassador, my privilege to request you to kindly enlighten us with your views and guidance. Thank you very much.
The city of Houston is indeed a delightful city which is economically dynamic and growing, but which retains to some extent the friendliness and helpfulness of a small city. That is something which I have noticed in my interaction with people. Indian community in the US and in Houston is well known for its hard work, its diligence, and its family values. And these are values which have held the community in good stead. They have come here as immigrants to the United States of America to learn, to work, and many have put down roots here and have flourished using the opportunities that this great land has afforded them. In one sense, you could say that India is a bridge country. We are a bridge country because we span both centers of great excellence and economic dynamism on par with the best in the world. And on the other hand, we also have pockets of poverty, pockets of underdevelopment. In a sense, you could say that different levels of Indian society are existing in different centuries at the same time. And that brings with it its own complexity when we seek to govern and when we seek to represent our country's interests. As a representative of India, I have to be conscious that India embraces not only those who are wealthy, India embraces not only those who are very well educated, but India embraces many who do not have the tools with which to make a life for themselves of dignity and of comfort. And so it's the other reason that I would say that India is a bridge country is because we are seeking to develop within a democratic framework. It's a very exciting time to be an Indian because the economy, after years of slow growth and many years of stagnation prior to independence, has begun to show enormous momentum. Indeed, if you look at the statistics, for 50 years before India became independent, our economy had grown at a bare 0.05%, which means complete stagnation for over half a century. Similarly, our literacy rate at independence was only around 17%. Our life expectancy for women was around 27, 28 years. So, you know, if somebody asks me, what do I celebrate in independent India today? I say the fact that I am not a statistic, as I would have been at independence. And since that time, we have come a long way. Of course, in the initial years, our growth was slow. It was 3%, then it moved up to 5%. But in recent years, we have seen the economy growing at over 9%. It's our objective to sustain a growth of 8 to 10% for the next several decades, because this is essential to overcome the problems that we face. We are confident that we can do so. And I think there are a variety of reasons why I say this. One is that I think the Indian polity is moving towards a polity of good governance and development. For some time, the political space was dominated by the assertion of identities. And so, in a sense, identity politics began to dominate or become the dominant political theme. But what we've seen in this election is that people have voted for all leaders or parties in different parts of the state who they think have provided better governance, going beyond the politics of identity to the politics of development and aspiration. And I think that's a very positive development. Secondly, if we look at the Indian growth story, there are several factors which point to the fact that it can be sustainable. I think the most important is that it is driven by domestic demand and by domestic investment. It is not so dependent on export-led growth, which in the current economic climate globally would have meant a serious setback to the economy. As it happens, we've been able to ride out this crisis, global crisis, with a moderation of growth, but still having a reasonable growth of 6.7%. The other factor is, if you look at macroeconomic indicators, the savings rate has touched about 37%, the investment rate has touched about 38%. So if we look at the foreign exchange reserves are in the region of 250 billion, between 250 to 300 billion, it varies. So overall, I would say we are in a fairly comfortable position. Are you not worried about the brain drain and the outflow of all this talent from India? And I said, I won't call it brain drain, I would rather call it brain circulation. And I think that has been my experience, that because people came out, saw new ways of looking at the world, found new ways of working, acquired new perspectives, that their experience filtered back to the areas from where they had migrated. When they went back on holidays and talked to their families, when their nephews came to study here, you know, this had a kind of two-way osmosis, changing the paradigm of discussion in the areas in India from where they had come. To give you an example, take the state of Andhra Pradesh. It was considered one of the most backward states in India post-independence. But the migration of a large number of technical engineers and experts from Andhra Pradesh to the United States, and the kind of osmosis of ideas, knowledge, technology, and also money between then the United States and Andhra Pradesh has enabled Andhra to leapfrog into a high-tech state in certain sectors, and it's changed the face of the Andhra Pradesh economy. Conversely, some of the states which have seen low migration have actually continued to be the most backward, because they continue to think in the old way without fresh breezes and fresh ideas coming in from outside. So I think the Indo-American community has played a very important role in this process in helping to shape the intellectual space, in a sense, or contribute to the intellectual space within which we fashion. This building and what you have built here is such an important symbol that we, the people who have come here, you know, want to give back to the society which has given us something. I commend you for this, and I hope that you will carry this forward in ways which are meaningful to the local community and to the Indian community. I also look forward to your continued support and encouragement for building India-US relations, and I hope that this is a journey which we can travel together. Thank you.